Welcome back, True Seeker. Friday, March 13th, 2026. 6 years ago today, Donald Trump declared the state of emergency for Cooties 19. And I remember where we were. We were out in the freezing cold out in front of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, giving out free hoodies, educating about Event 201 and what they had planned with the scam-demic. So here we are 6 years later. Friday the 13th, day they'll have a big superstition around. Of course, that traces back to the Templars who were burned at the stake Friday, October 13th, 1307. For people that know, the superstition of Friday the 13th goes back to the Templars. Who remembers when ISIS attacked France on Friday the 13th? Remember that one? They made a nice heart out of blood on the concert floor. Josh Ohm was playing in one of his mini bands. He's the guy who did the No One Knows song and the Queens of the Stone Age. And that's the problem. No one knows anything about anything anymore, even though there's people out here trying to educate. But yeah, let's talk about the big news on Friday, March 13th. All 6 crew members killed when Air Force refueling plane crashed in Iraq. And the thing about 6, on this 6th anniversary of the state of emergency for the flu, again, for people who don't know, Corona was coined as seasonal flu in 1968, the year of years, the year fentanyl was approved by the FDA, and everything else went into motion, including 911 being made the national emergency dialing code, World Trade Center construction beginning, George W. Bush getting out of Yale, Skull and Bones. And when we think of Iraq, don't we think of the Bushes? But anyway, look at this. 13 is the 6th prime number. Prime numbers are those that can only be divided by 1 and themselves. So the only numbers that divide into 13 are 13 and 1. 13 becomes the 6th prime number. 6 crew dead on Friday the 13th. And they're calling this a refueling plane. Well, that's interesting because refueling plane equates to 233, which is the 13th Fibonacci number. If you don't know the Fibonacci sequence, look it up. It's really simple. You add the last 2 numbers in the sequence to get the next number. So the 12th Fibonacci number is 144. The 11th is 89. 89 plus 144 is 233. The next Fibonacci number is 377 because it's 144 plus 233, and on and on and on. It goes to infinity. But yes, 233, the 13th Fibonacci number, the gematria of refueling plane 233. If you're new here, gematria, very simple. It's based on the alphabetic order forwards and backwards. When you run the alphabetic order in reverse, refueling plane 233. And since this is the Air Force, how about the current head of the Air Force, Ken Wilsbach? He's been with the Air Force since 1985. So this year marks 41 years. 41 is the 13th prime number. Don't forget, this is the land of 13 stripes, 13 colonies, 13 years of slave school where you never learn about any of this. You should, because then you'd see through it all. But remember, USA. Use the 21st letter. S is the 19th. A is the 1st. 21 plus 19 plus 1, 41. Don't even get me started on how big 41 was on September 11th, way back in the year 2001, which eventually got us into Iraq again. After George W. Bush had said on the campaign trail his father's biggest mistake was going into Iraq. Then next thing you know, he's doing it too. And don't forget his father was number 41. Skull and Bones, the secret society that they're a part of at Yale equals 41. Skull and Bones get their symbolism from the Templars and the Illuminati. Now, notice the word Arab is also 13 because Iraq is one of the original members of the Arab League, which was created March 22nd, old 322. We're coming up on that anniversary in 1945, near the end of World War II. And for the record, Iran's never been in the Arab League because they're Persian. They're not Arab. They're Persian. But yeah, just about those Templars and Friday the 13th, where the original superstition goes back to. The Templars, they stopped operations in modern-day Iraq in the 13th century. Isn't that interesting? In the 13th century is when the Templars stopped operations in modern-day Iraq. So again, here we are on Friday the 13th with this plane supposedly crashing in western Iraq. By the way, western Iraq equals 67 in gematria, and the Republic of Iraq is 67 years old. That's the 19th prime, and 19 is a whole nother number to get into. There's, again, the Quran code goes back to 19, and 19 hijackers on 9/11, and the oldest one born in 1968. Oh, we'll skip all that for now. But yeah, they're saying this plane that crashed is a US KC, I should have put it up there, KC equals 13 in Gematria. KC 135, right? Now, the Illuminati was founded in Bavaria with 13 families right before the American Revolution. And of course, Bavaria equals 135. So again, just a little 13 historical lesson here. The CIA has the Fritz Springmeier book on their archives about the 13 bloodlines of the Illuminati. And of course, the CIA has that big 13 connection. There are the 4 base ciphers of the English language: alphabetic order with numerology, reverse alphabetic order with numerology. I just wanted you to see the CIA 23 as well, because March 20th, a week from today, will mark 23 years since the beginning of our bombing campaign, Operation Shock and Awe in Iraq. Planes down a week before that on Friday the 13th. And keep in mind, from 1968 to Operation Desert Storm in 1991, that was 23 years later. I don't think that was an accident. Papa Bush was working at the CIA back then, as George W. Bush was getting out of Skull and Bones. And just for the record, Iraq and Bavaria have the same gematria. Also, coming back up to the main story up here. If you missed my work yesterday on the Temple, Israel, and Old Dominion shootings and how they're connected, paying tribute to the church, what has Old Dominion, old control. If you missed yesterday's work, you definitely got to check that out. It further proves a point of a book I wrote 10 years ago, a point I've been proving for 13 years straight, literally, because, this year marks 13 years since I got here. I did find this work in 2013, oddly enough, and this year will be the 13th anniversary come August. See that minute 35 story up there? Central Intelligence Agency, by the way, equals 135 too. The CIA 13, Central Intelligence Agency 135, Bavaria 135. The CIA created in a big Jesuit ritual who are the modern day Templars. The Illuminati founded by a Jesuit. I wonder how all this connects so perfectly. But anyway, look what it says. ODU terror suspect serves 7 years in prison for trying to aid ISIS. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm sure that's what happened. Just got to scroll down. Yesterday, we talked about how the shooting at Old Dominion happened exactly 506 weeks into the mayor's term, a lot like 56, going with Old Dominion equaling 56, like Society of Jesus, like Washington, D.C., like Freemasons, like how all these things are connected, going back to 56 signers on the Declaration. But notice, ISIS 56, like Old Dominion, all of this stuff, you guys, it's just a joke. And yeah, if you missed yesterday's work on the ISIS, well, yesterday they weren't putting out the ISIS detail, but it's pretty predictable. We said, as soon as this stuff with Iran popped off, we said, expect the FFs to come to the States for the revenge killings. But yeah, yesterday had 61 date numerology. We had a shooting at Temple, Israel, in West Bloomfield, and one at Old Dominion, both equaling 61 like active shooter. And yeah, the Jesuit fingerprints all over both of them. The shootings on the 71st day of the year, 201 days after Gretchen Whitmer's birthday out there at Temple, Israel. And yeah, by the way, they ended up putting out the name of the shooter last night. This is an update. His name is 83, just like how the shooting was on the 83rd Meridian, 83 days before the date I circled over a week ago to look out for Al-Aqsa Complex with Al-Aqsa Mosque and the Dome of the Rock. They had to tell you that it was a 41-year-old yesterday, too. A 41-year-old, go figure. Like everything on 9/11 was 41. Remember, Saudi Arabia, our ally, attacked us 179 days after the king's birthday, 41st prime, and 41 days after the prince's birthday, who was ruling over Saudi Arabia at the time. But yeah, just look at all those big fat 41s up there. And of course, it's the 13th prime, and now here we are on Friday the 13th. And again, all these rituals every day are mathematically computed. It's a show of numbers every day. They think the Goy toys can't make the calculations. By the way, Ken Wilsbach, being the head since 85. Notice they don't give us a real birthday for Ken Wilsbach. But remember, Templar equals 85. October 7th, the day we invaded Afghanistan, the day the war began in Israel. October 7th, the day leaving 85 days left in the year, Templar 85. Skull and Bones, the secret society the Bushes were a part of, modeled after the Templars and the Illuminati. Again, Templars are modern-day Jesuits. The Jesuit Adam Weishaupt founded the Illuminati. And he also, for the record, he founded it on May 1st, 5-1. Adam Weishaupt equals 51. Notice how 233 is the 51st prime and 13th Fibonacci. What a day for 13 families. What a ritual on the calendar given to us by the Jesuit priest Christopher Clavius. I mean, how many different angles can you come at this from and put it all together? And people still don't care. Anyway, we'll leave it there for now. Never fear Friday the 13th. Every day can be a glorious day if you make it one. But yeah, because we are living in curious times, still be prepared for the worst, expect the best, in case they turn out the power on us and blame some cyber attack on one of these CIA-controlled nations, like, for example, Iraq, Iran, North Korea, Venezuela, the axis of evil. Remember, when it happens, it'll actually be us, but they'll blame it on one of their boogeyman state. You know, it's always the same thing. It's just like how we took down Khomeini exactly 56 days after we took down Maduro, and we replaced them both with 56-year-olds. And then the second time in Khomeini's son, whose name also equals 56. And I forget, does the lady in Venezuela, does her name also have a gematria of 56? It might. The 56-year-old who replaced Maduro, who went out smiling with his thumbs up. He's doing about 10 different wardrobe changes en route back to the U.S. Anyway, yeah, we'll leave it there for now, you guys. Thanks to everyone who hits the like and the share. Shame on you, YouTube, for ruining my channel and making it look like every video can barely get 1,000 views. Shameful. Till next time.